Hello, my dear students. I am myself Dakshani Ijeri, working as an assistant professor from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. I am handling the subject application development using Python for the 5th semester with the code 18CS55. This course, Application Development Using Python, prescribed for the 5th semester students, describes the fundamental concepts of computing programming, and it also helps to solve simple to complex problems using high-level procedural language, Python. The course covers various data types, control flow, object-oriented programming, pattern matching, and web scraping applications. The student, after completing this course, will be able to develop the projects using programming concepts of Python data structures like lists, dictionaries, tuples, libraries, file system, classes and the objects, and the web scraping. The minimum requirement one should have in order to learn this course is the basic programming techniques and knowledge regarding the current issues. So once this complete course has been done, that is with all the 5 modules, the student will be able to execute simple Python programs using variables, expressions, statements, and conditional statements, and will be able to use the various loops in order to work with the searching and sorting techniques. The student will be able to run and manipulate Python programs using the data structures like lists, dictionaries, and regular expressions. By using the classes and the objects, that is the object oriented concept, the student will be able to work with the files and the network programs and the various applications based upon the databases and the SQL. So now let's start with the first module. The first module of this subject consists of the 3 chapters, in which the first chapter is Python Basics. In this chapter, it deals with the fundamental syntax and the structure of language. It covers various flow control statements, defining the functions, and the exception handling. So before I proceed with the actual content of this chapter, I want all of you to install the 2 softwares. The first software is the Python core language itself, and the second one is the Anaconda platform, which will work on the Python. So here are the 2 links I have given, where you can go through these 2 links and you can download it. So if you are not able to recall this link, or if you are not able to remember this link, I'll just show you how you can get it in the search engine. So here, open the Chrome. You just type it as a Python. The very first search result will give you the link for the downloading of Python, which is an official website for the Python, as a www.python.org. Just click on it. So you will be redirected to the home page of a Python. So within this, you have a section as a downloads here, and go through this downloads and click on this latest version, which will be available here. So one more thing that you need to remember here is the versions of the Python from the 3.79 onwards are suitable for the OS which is above the XP. It is not suitable for the below XP. So my recommendation for you is to not to go for the earlier versions of the Python. Instead, you update your OS itself and then download the latest version here. So you can just click on it. So executable file will be downloaded to your system. Open that executable file, run it with the administrator. So you can see here, since I have already downloaded it, and installed it in my system, I don't want to do it again. So you just save it and you can proceed with execute that file. Go on clicking next. You will be able to successfully install the Python. Right. So the second software that you have to do is download is the Anaconda installation. So just type as the Anaconda install. Not the first search. Here you have a installation Anaconda documentation. Click on it. It's taking a few time. It's buffering over here. We'll wait for a few seconds and check out. I think there's a network problem over here. So let's not wait for this section here. Once you click on it, it will be again redirected to the home page of the Anaconda, where it will give you the different versions required for the different OS. So depending upon the OS what you are using, check out which is suitable, and along with that the installation procedure step is also given, which is very simple, where you have to just click on the next. So do install this Anaconda also, and if you are facing any problem in installation of either the Python or the Anaconda, then let me know. I'll conduct a different class, or we'll have a different video only on the installation procedure here. Okay, so let's close it. So once if we have installed the Python, I'll show you how to check out whether the Python has been installed correctly or not. So go to the search engine, write as a command, and command prompt will be given here. Right click on it and you run it as an administrator. Click on yes. It will give you a black window. Here you just type the command as a Python, Python, all in lowercase letters, and press enter. Suppose if your Python has been successfully installed, you'll get the message regarding the which version of the Python has been installed. Here you can see here Python 3.7.4 along with the different message here. So this is going to be displayed if the Python has been successfully installed on your system. If the Python has been not installed, then you'll get an error message telling that the Python is an unidentified command here. So this is how you need to check once you have installed the Python. Excuse me. So what is a Python? What does it consist? It consists of syntactical constructions, standard library functions, and interactive development environment features. As with the other programming language, the Python also have the construction structure, or you can say the syntax, which needs to be followed while writing the program. But as compared to the other programming language, Python is much a simpler simpler syntactical structure, where you can easily write the program here. Why Python? So yesterday itself I have conducted the interactive class within which I have discussed why all the industries are migrating from the other programming languages to the Python. So as the Python is considered as an open source programming language, where you can contribute, where you are not only using, where you can contribute even for the core code of the Python as well. So let's not discuss much in that. So I'll give you a homework as why the Python is the most popular programming language as compared to the other programming languages in today's industry. So I just want you to make a note of this question, and I want all of you to write it, and we are going to discuss your views on what is the importance or what is the significance of the Python programming language as compared to the other programming languages. So please make a note of it and do write the note of it, and I want to discuss these things when we have the next interaction class here. So once the Python has been installed successfully, I just want to show you one more thing, that once you install, when we want to work with the Python, there are the two things. One is the interactive shell and another one is the static. So we'll see how it is done here. So on the search engine, so open it, you have to just type as a idle, IDLE. So once you type it as a idle, so here you can see it shows idle with the Python version 3.7. so click on it. So this is said to be as an interactive, or else you can also work with the command prompt also. So this is said to be as an interactive here, where you can do the various operations, or where you can write the commands of the Python, you can write the expressions, and you can execute the things, and you'll be able to see the output itself. So this entire idle window which is open here, this is said to be as an interactive part. So how to open it? So you can see here the instruction has been given, as I told you, on the taskbar. On the taskbar, so you click on the Windows. Here itself sometime it shows. If it doesn't shows, you just click on the search and type as the idle. So you will be given, if the Python has been successfully installed, the idle will be by default available on your taskbar itself. So click on it, so window will be open here. So this is the interactive part here. So coming to the next part, that is the different operators that you can use in the Python. So as with the other programming languages, here also you are going to use the different operators that is required for doing the various mathematical operation here. So for example, here in the first case is the double star, which is said to be as an exponent. That means if you want to find out the exponential value between the two numeric values, that is 2 to the power 3, so that is done with the 2 stars here. 2 followed by the 2 stars 3 is nothing but the 2 to the power 3 will give you the result as 8. So simultaneously the percentage is used for the same purpose in order to do the modulus operation to get the remainder. And here is a difference. You are finding that one you have the operator as a single division operator, and another operator you have the double division operator. So rest of the operators are same as you do with the other programming language. So try to remember here what is the difference between these two operators here. So if you are going to use the double division operators, once you divide the two numbers, of course the both are going to give you the quotient value itself. Do not be confused here. The double division operator as well as the single division operator, both are going to give you the quotients. But in which way it is given, you can see here 22 double division operator will give you the actual value is 2.75, but the answer will be given as 2, truncating the decimal values after the point. So that is done with a double division operator. Suppose if you are going to give you the single division operator, it will give you the result exactly in the decimal format, the way how you are going to get it. So this is the actual difference here. So the rest of the operators are going to work exactly the same way how they do it in the other programming languages here. So let's see now directly in the idle itself how you can execute the things, how the expression will be evaluated. Rather than discussing this example, this is just a snapshot of the idle itself, that how you are going to execute. So we'll see with the different kind of the examples how does it is going to work there. This is the idle. So just type as a 2 directly. No, you need not have to do any declaration or nothing. So if you are going to operate directly with the mathematical values and the operators, so do write the expression directly here. 2 plus 5, press enter, you will get the result as a 7. So the same way do with the other operating as operators also. 2 star star 3, so which is nothing but the 2 to the power 3 here. So I'll show you with the 8 double division operator 3, so we'll give you the 2, but the same expression if you use the single division operator, we'll see what we will get here. So that is the difference here. If you use the double division operator, it will truncate all the decimal values. It will give you only the whole number as a result. So suppose for the same expression, if you are going to use the single division operator, it will give you the complete value in terms of the decimal values as well. So this is idle, the way how you are going to work. So directly write the mathematical expression. Suppose if you want to work just like as a calculator, you can directly write the mathematical expression consisting of the numeric values and the operators, and then press enter, you will be able to get the result here. So coming to the integer, floating point and the string data types. Excuse me. Which is the prime most important thing that you might have used in the other programming languages. So you might have declared the various variables describing that what kind of values you are going to store in those values. So how we are going to describe the what kind of values you are going to store, those are defined with the names as a integer, float values and the string data types. So what are integers, what are the floating values, what are the strings, I need not have to explain you, right? So you all are well versed with these data types. Integers means it is a whole number, either it may be a positive or a negative. Floating means it is a decimal values here. Strings means you have the characters or the set of the characters enclosed within a single quote or the double quote. So these are said to be as a different data types that you can use in the any programming language, not only with the Python programming language, you can use it with the any programming language. So now coming to the usage of these values. So as I told you, that you are having these different data types. So as with the other programming languages, whenever you are using the any values or the variables in the Python, you need not have to explicitly declare it as whether it is an integer data type, whether it is a floating data type, or whether it is a string data type. So once you use these values directly, implicitly the Python is going to consider the data type by saying those values. For example, in the next slide you can see here Alice, which is enclosed within a single quote. That means this will be considered as a string data type. Again, Bob being directly a value, not a variable, which is enclosed within the single quote, which is again considered as a string value here. Right, so that means do remember whenever we are going to write the programs in the Python, throughout this Python programming language, you are never going to declare the any variables with a data types. You are simply going to declare a variables by storing the values which will be implicitly considered by the Python by seeing those values here, right? So do remember this. So now coming to the string concatenation and the replication. See, there are the two operators known as the plus operator and the star operator, which are going to behave differently with the values that is being used here. For example, this plus operator has been used between two string values. Here the plus operator has been used with the one as a numeric operand and another as a string operand here. Here the third example is the star operator has been used between a string and the numeric value here. So what you need to remember here is the plus and the star operator is going to behave differently depending upon the type of the operators that are being used here. So in this case you can see here the plus operator is being used between two string values. That means this plus is going to work as a concatenation operation between the two strings here. So Alice plus Bob, which will give you the Alice Bob as a concatenated result. So in the next case where you can see the same plus operator has been used between a string and a numeric value, but this is not allowed in the Python. So whenever you are using the plus for a concatenation, make sure that the two values are a string. Instead of one as a numeric and another as a string, the two values needs to be a string if you want to make it behave as a concatenation here. So if you use in this way, the obvious behavior of the editor is the error saying that can't convert the integer object to the string implicitly. So followed to the next operator is a star. Suppose if this star operator can work one operand as a string and another as a numeric, which is said to be as a replication here. So that means Alice being a string followed by the star followed by a numeric value, saying that the Alice needs to be repeated for the 5 times. So the value what you are going to take after the star operation is going to say that this string needs to be executed or repeated for the 5 times. So this is said to be as a replication operator here. So make sure that the same plus operator, if you are going to use between two numeric values, it is used as an addition operator, and the star operator is going to work as a multiplication. But the same plus operator, if you are going to use between the two string values, it is going to work as a concatenation operator. And in same way the star operator, if it is going to be used between one as a string and another one as a numeric, it is going to work as a replication operator here. So let's see here with the idle now how it is going to behave. I'll take it as a Python. So here scenario is the string can be written using a single quote or a double quote. Both are acceptable here. So write it as a Python. I'll now take it the plus operator Python. Now I'll take it as a language. Press enter. So you can see the plus operator has concatenated these two string values. Or we'll see what it does. You can see here it has replicated the word or the string Python for how many times? 4 times. Why? Because we have taken the 4 as a value here in front of the star. So this is how the string concatenation and the replication is done here. So now coming to the variables, as I told you, as compared to the other programming languages, here in this Python you need not have to declare the any variable with the any variable with the data type here. That means you can directly take the variable name and you can store the values here. So what is a variable? I need not have to tell you the definition of a variable, right? So even though we'll just read it out here, a variable is a like box in the computer's memory where you can store a single value. If you want to use the result of an evaluated expression later in your program, you can save it inside a variable. So variable is nothing but a memory location where you are going to store some values with a specific name which can be used later in your program. Excuse me. So here are the few examples you can see here. Spam is equal to 40. That means the value or the variable spam has been stored with the value as a 40. And if you print that, it is going to give you the value that has been stored here. So next you can see the x has been taken as a variable name with a value 2. And if you do the plus operation here with the two strings, it is not a concatenation. Why? Because these two are the variable names, not a simple string here. So what does this plus operator is going to do? It is going to fetch the value that has been stored in the spam and the value that has been stored in the x, where it is going to perform the addition and the result will be displayed here. The same way with the rest of the case also. So you can notice here none of the variables has been taken with the any data type name here. That means whenever you are going to store the value, for example in this part spam is equal to 40. The 40 being an integer has been stored in the spam. That means implicitly this spam variable is considered as an integer data type. You need not have to specify it explicitly. Please do remember this throughout the Python programming language, because with the other programming languages you usually have a habit of creating the variables with the data types, but the Python is not having that structure. Here you can directly store the values into the variables, where by implicitly those variables can be considered with the value that has been stored here. So in all these examples, all the variables are having the integer values in it, so the data type that is being considered for these variables are the integer. So it's not like that once you have stored the integer you cannot have or you cannot rewrite with the other data type. So in the Python it is going to allow you to rewrite the values as many times as you want. So in the previous example itself you can see the spam has been stored with the numeric value here. So here in this example you can see the spam has been again stored with a new value. That means what is done is exactly displayed in this figure. You can see earlier the some value has been stored, later it has been rewritten with the some other value. So whatever the value that is going to be rewritten, that value is going to be considered as a data type for that particular variable here. Okay. So now there are some norms to be followed in order to create a variable name or in order to use a variable name. So this is the case with the all the programming languages, not only with the Python. In any of the programming language you have to certainly follow certain norms in order to define the variable names here. So in this table you can see a few examples which can be considered as a valid variable names and a few examples which cannot be considered, or you can see which are the invalid variable names here. So in the valid variable names you can see balance with the B being a capital, current balance, underscore being the in between the words, and underscore being a beginning of the word, and all in the uppercase letters, and a variable followed by a words followed by a number. Invalid, you can see which all the things you cannot follow. You cannot use the hyphen here, you cannot use the space in between the words, and you cannot use the numeric value being the first followed by the words as a variable name, and you cannot use the special characters in the variable names, and you cannot use the single quotes as a variable names. So you need to be very careful while using the variable names, or at least you should practice of using the good variable names, or the which are the valid variable names here. In the Python, variable names are the case sensitive. That means suppose if you have used the one variable name, whereas the span being all the uppercase letters and next being s being a capital and rest of the letters being in the lowercase letters, and like this one capital and the other lowercase letters, all these four variables are considered as a different variables here. Why? Because variable names in the Python is a case sensitive. That means even though if you make a difference in a single letter with the case, then that is considered as a new variable itself, or else a different variable here. So it is a convenient in Python to start the variable with a lowercase letter. It's not a mandatory, but it is a convenient, or it is a suggested that good practice of using the variable name with a lowercase letter itself. So this is a very short program here. Directly we are going to start in the IDLE itself. I'm not going to discuss it here. I'll directly show you how does it behaves in the IDLE only. So what has been taken here, a simple print message has been taken, print hello world. Excuse me. Print hello world, print what is your name. My name is equal to input function has been used here. So again the print functions has been used here. See, I'll discuss each of these functions here in detail. So I want you to be familiar of using all these functions exactly the way how it has been defined here. So what is the print is going to do? As with the other cases, I think you have the cout function as a display message in the oops, and you have the printf in the C, right? So in the exactly the same way, in order to display anything on the screen, the print function is used in the Python, followed by the parenthesis and followed by the values that you want to print in a quotations. So that is the syntax that is being followed for the print function in the Python. So next is again a display message saying that what is your name. That means you want to display this message on the screen asking the user to tell what is your name. So the next line you can see here, my name is equal to input. The my name here is nothing but a variable here, and input is a function which is used for reading some values through the keyboard or from the user. So the exactly the way why the scanf is used in the C, the same purpose is of using the input function. The input function is going to read some values from the keyboard, but do remember here that whatever the input that is given by the user, implicitly it is considered as a string value itself, no matter whether you give it as an integer value, no matter whether you give it as a string value or the floating value. Implicitly every input that is being entered through the keyboard and taken with the input function will be considered as a string here. So the rest of the things are just a display message saying that it is good to meet you with a name, the length of your name. So you can see here print length has been taken len, so which will give you the total number of the characters of that string. So my name is a variable where the name entered by the user will be stored here. So in order to get the total number of the length of that variable, you are going to use the length as a function here. So next followed to that you have the one more message as a what is your age, where you want to read the age of a person. In order to read it, you are going to read it with again input function, and while displaying what you want to do is you want to do the increment, or you want to add a one to that input value that has been given by the user, as I told you. But if you are reading the any value with the input, by default it will be in the string format. Even though the numeric value has been entered by the user, it will be considered as a string type. If you want to perform any mathematical operation on it, that needs to be explicitly converted to the other data type. So that is said to be as a type conversion here. Don't worry, I'm going to explain all these type conversions in detail in the further examples, but right now with this simple example you try to understand here. String of int my age, int of my age means whatever the input that is being taken here will be converted to the integer, then you can add it to it and then you can display it. So before going through this complete example, we'll discuss it part by part so that you will be more clear that how exactly the way behaves in and these commands behave in the Python here. So first we'll start with the interactive shell. Later on I'll tell you how you can use the files to save the file to save it as a file here. So as I told you, what I want is I want to read a number here. I take a num as a variable name. Num is equal to, what I'll do, I use the input function here. Then I'll type the enter number. So you can see here I have not used any type conversion. Instead I have just taken a simple variable name as a num, where I have want to read a number from the user, but I have not done any type conversion here. I'll just print enter here. What I'll do, I'll write one number here and I'll press enter. So now I want to check out what kind of value that has been stored here in this variable. So I'll again type the num and just press the enter to check out here. So you can see, even though I have entered the 5 as a numeric value, you can see the display of 5 here is in a single quotation. That means the value that has been entered by the user, even though it is a number, it is stored in a single quote, telling that it is a string value. So this value needs to be considered as a string here. So that's why I am telling here, do remember that whenever you read anything with the input function, that will be stored as a string value here. Later on, if you want to do any mathematical operation on it, for example, if I do direct mathematical operation without any type conversion, for example, num plus 1, I'll do here. So you will get an error saying that cannot concatenate or you cannot operate it. So because what I want to do now, I want just it to convert this numeric this string value to the numeric. So how it can be done? So take the data type name int followed by the parenthesis. You just type it as the variable name num. Now you just press the enter. You can see here this file has been converted here, and this 5, which is a string, has been converted to the numeric value here. So now I can do int of num plus 1. You can see 6. Now you can do the addition here. So this particular part is said to be as a type conversion here. Suppose even though if you have read a new numeric value or the float value, by default it will be stored as a string. And if you want to do any mathematical operation on it, make sure that you do the type conversion before you operate it. So once again, in detail we'll discuss this, but for timing you just understand this. Now we'll see the same example there, reading the name, then displaying the name here. So I'll take my name as a variable, then I'll use the input function. Do remember that if you want to read something from the user, you need to use the input function here. Enter your name. So just press the enter. It will ask you to enter your name. I'll just enter my name as a Pallavi. Press enter. Now I want to display it as a good morning Pallavi. So directly I'll take the print. Good morning. So in order to concatenate this string, as I told you need to use the plus operator. What do you want to concatenate? You want to concatenate the value that has been stored in this variable here, my name. Press enter. So you can see here good morning Pallavi. So you have concatenated. Now what I want to do is I want to read the age of the Pallavi now. Take a variable age, input, and display message inside the input. Enter your age. So now whatever I'm going to enter, it will be stored in a string here. For example, if I enter it as a 25, it will be stored as a string. Suppose if I want to display it with a 1 year greater than that string, for example, I just want to display print Pallavi next year you will be show you what a mistake can happen here, then I'll rectify it so that you will be more clear regarding the type conversion here. You will be you'll get an error here. So saying that invalid syntax, why? Because the double quotation has been not completed here. So let's see what we can do for the type conversion here. So here first I'll take it as an integer of age plus 1. So again you are going to get the error here. So why? Because here also you need the one more plus operator, and just leave this part. I'll show you what you'll get. You are not going to get the any result here. So you are going to get the invalid. So once again we'll see what can be done here. Use the plus operator. First convert it to the string of integer of age plus 1. So let's see. You are going to get the result. Pallavi, next year you will be 26 years. So meaning that whenever you want to take the value filling in the print statement, do care that a concatenation operator needs to be used properly in between the strings. See here, you can see the first part here is a string and the last part is also a string, but in between you want to fill some values that you have read from the user. So in that case the plus operator needs to be used on the both the sets. Why? Because here you are concatenating some values with the string, and make sure that whatever the value that you are concatenating, again it should be in the string format. Why? Because while doing the operation you have converted it to the integer to do the addition, and once you have done converted to the integer, the result will be in the form of the integer itself. But you want to concatenate this result with the two strings. In that case again it has to be converted back to the string here. So how to convert it? Using the data type as a str. So this is a very simple example that we have discussed. I want you people to work on the few more examples, like building a calculator, which you have done it in the C programming laboratory. I want you people to write a program and keep ready with the execution file, saying that created a calculator by reading the two values where it has to display the result of the addition, subtraction, multiplication and the division. And next another program is, I want you to write a program to read the radius of a circle and where it has to display the circumference and the area of the circle. And next thing is, I want you to read the name of a user and you need to display some greeting message to it. I want these two programs to be written by you, and then you need to execute those files and keep ready with the solutions of these programs, where we are going to discuss it in the interactive section. I may ask any one of you to show me your execution where you need to present the file that you have executed. So coming to the next concepts, where the type conversion with the string, int and float, we shall continue it in the next video. Thank you.